Welcome back. Well, if you've been watching the news in the United States, you've been stunned by literally tens of thousands of migrants at the Texas border, many of whom have come from South America. They claim to be Haitian. And tens of thousands gathered under a highway bridge, and they were just let in. It was rather like their own version of Roxham Road. But some estimates put the number at 100,000 who have crossed in recent weeks. The government admitting to at least 12,000 at that one crossing that's been in the news. Well, if you think that the Democrats and the United States is the only country that has open borders, you're missing out what's happening in Canada. I'm not just talking about Roxham Road. Those are illegal migrants. I'm talking about what is considered legal. Look at this bombshell exclusive in the Edmonton Sun by our friend Lorne Gunter. The headline is, "Liberals to make immigration to Canada much easier." And it discloses an internal memo instructing all the immigration judges in Canada to basically take any woke claim as a reason to admit someone who wants to come to our country. Joining us now via Skype from Edmonton is Lorne Gunter, who will take us through it. Lorne, amazing scoop. Good for you. Tell us, what was this email, this internal email? Who was it sent by, and what does it mean?
It was sent by Richard Wex, who is the chairperson and CEO of the Immigration and Refugee Appeal Board system. So it's semi-detached from the Immigration Department. It's not quite as independent as a lot of judiciaries are. And Wex has sent out a new chairman's directive. So this doesn't even debated in Parliament. This hasn't gone to Cabinet, although I suspect that the appropriate Cabinet ministers know about it. And it says that if you have intersectionality or trauma, and I'll get to intersectionality in a second. If you have either of these two, then you don't have to have what would be traditionally called a convention refugee definition. You don't have to be someone who's seen as a refugee by the United Nations even. And of course, the United Nations has a very broad definition of what makes a refugee. But basically, up until now, you have to have shown to an immigration officer, or then failing the immigration officer's decision, you don't like the immigration officer's decision, you have to then show to an immigration or refugee judge. You had to show them that you were under threat of torture, imprisonment, or death if you were sent back to the country that you'd come from. Now, you merely have to assert that it is your perception that you have one or more intersectionality claims. So age, sexual orientation, gender, political views, indigeneity, which was a word that it does exist, but I didn't know it existed until I got a hold of this memo the other day. There's a whole long list, and as you said in the introduction, of these woke reasons why you should be admitted to Canada. And basically, it makes useless the entire screening system that we have, whether it's at the bureaucratic level where the officers first look at an application, or at the semi-judicial level, these immigration adjudicators and refugee adjudicators. It makes it basically useless for them to do anything, because who won't, off of this long list of politically correct definitions, who won't be able to find two that they qualify for?
You know, I was reading your article, and one of the incredible facts that I did not know was that there are actually, there's about 300 of these adjudicators across Canada, and a couple dozen of them have a 100% acceptance rate. That is, That's an excerpt from my daily show, the Ezra Levant Show. Every day I do a monologue on the news of the day, then I interview an interesting guest, and then I read my hate mail. You gotta subscribe. Go to rebelnews.com.